When you think of the word success, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the first word or vision, thought or feeling that comes up for you? For most of us, it's money. But for the rest of us that are waking up and realizing that money doesn't buy happiness or everlasting joy, we're starting to look for a new kind of success. And in this episode, we're going to share our 3 tips on how you can cultivate an abundance, a sense of prosperity, without chasing the paper trail. Hey, we're Britt and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we've found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place, because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. Growing up in a trailer park, I definitely thought success meant being in a house that you couldn't touch the ceiling.
You set the bar high from the beginning, huh?
I had no idea.
You know, and I think that's what the big deal is. And I think that's why this topic specifically is extremely important to be looking at, because how you define success ends up becoming how you build your goals. And if your goals are after the wrong thing, no matter if you get them or not, you still won't be happy. And so if you're not defining the rules of success for you, what does success mean for you in your life and your family at this time? Not what someone else was doing. Because oftentimes our parents and our teachers and our mentors like to give us a blueprint for success that's theirs. And sometimes that doesn't work for us. Sometimes what they aspire for us to be isn't what we want to be. And so we have to begin redefining, what does this mean for us? What does it mean for the next generation of kids? How can we improve on what we've defined as success?
You know, it's interesting because we come from very different backgrounds. I grew up in the country. At least we own the trailer park, so I learned entrepreneurship very early and what that can look like, good and bad. But you grew up in a very wealthy luxury school, but didn't really reflect that at home. So it was a very unique take on being a private school student.
Yeah, but I mean, the big deal for me was, I've always been an introvert. So when I went back home, I shut myself into my room, and that's where I was until I got back up the next morning and went to school again. So besides playing a little bit of hoops in the driveway, I'm going to be pretty much in my room. And so I lived whatever life I could build in my mind. And so for me, success is something that happens in my mental state. I did go to school with a bunch of wealthy people. I have a bunch of wealthy clients now, and I would tell you that they are not always the happiest. They do have cool lives. They do summer crazies and spring break times where you're like, what movie are you living in? Like, what is this? And a lot of times they have spent the majority of their life cultivating things that have brought them wealth, things that have brought them, like you talked about before, the big house, the cars, the summer home, and all stuff. But they haven't spent a lot of time cultivating the inner work. And so one of the big parts of the new success is that the inner work is just as important, if not more important, than the outer work. And so you have to start working on what's on the inside, because if that is a rain cloud all the time, the outside won't matter. No matter how beautiful you make it, no matter how pretty it looks. You see this happen all the times with people who are in plastic surgery. Plastic surgeons will tell you that oftentimes, even though they did the work on the client that the client wanted, the client's not always happy. They don't always feel the internal
I
relief.
can relate as a hairdresser to that.
Totally.
I mean, I do all this beautiful balayage work to make you look stunning, and the first thing you say is, "Oh, I should have worn makeup. I hate my nose." Like, what? That's what you're focusing on? That's what led me down this path to the healing work that I do, because it wasn't enough for me to make you look beautiful if you felt like shit.
So think about where in your life you need to work on the inside stuff. I know it's easy to project out and see goals and be visual about it and be excited about big things and beautiful staircases and gold elevators and yachts and all. I know it feels tingly. It's fantastic. But
it's fun for a moment.
But if you have the calmness on the inside, You typically don't need much else. A lot of times with the external stuff, we need it for the feel good. But if you have the calmness inside, you already have the feel good. So everything that you add on that is kind of, it's nice. It's good. It's fun. But it's not the thing.
So that's your first, I guess, philosophy of what the new success looks like, is you're focusing on inner attainment versus outer attainment.
And that doesn't mean that you don't do outer attainment. That doesn't mean that you shun outer attainment. Just like a lot of people you hear, completely shun the ego. And that's silly. Just like, oh, I just want to always have my soul's voice. I don't want to have the ego at all. The ego gives us the experience. Without the ego, we don't have the experience. We don't have the personal identified I so that we can make up these stories. And so without that, we don't have the same kind of life. And so you need both things. Like the outer attainment's fantastic because you're going to have to learn discipline. You're going to have to figure out how money works. You're going to have to figure out how to sell to customers. If you're not an entrepreneur in some way, if you always work for somebody else, I totally recommend that you get some sort of really small side gig. Even if you're only putting an hour or 90 minutes or something like that on the weekends on some sort of, just to feel it. Just to feel that, because that extra attainment does something for us. Sometimes it'll build self-confidence.
Brings out all your shadows.
It definitely will. I mean, I think people going into business, it's funny. People go into business the first time, they're like, oh, it's going to be amazing. Look what I'm going to do. And they just walk in their own mess. And they're like, oh my gosh, all my stuff was here.
Crippled in their own chaos.
The business was the rug they'd swept all of their entire life, underneath.
So yeah, it's about both, there's that saying, Zorba the Buddha, being able to be of Zen mind and in the present, but not be distracted by the material things, just appreciative of them when you do have them.
It's a different quality of living. And a lot of times when you feel that way, you don't end up relying on other people for approval. You're not looking for them. Well, if I have this nice thing, then people will love me. Because that's a horrible thing to be in, because you'll always have to get more. You'll always have to go out and acquire and feel like you have to work hard and spend a lot of energy for something that you deserve just for being here.
Oh man, it reminds me of my client who bought herself, was it a Ferrari or?
Ferrari.
Yeah, I said, how long did that joy last? She said, about a month. I was like, wow, that's expensive joy.
Expensive joy.
All right. So the second thing you can do to redefine what success looks like, the new success is what we're calling it, is to raise up others. Instead of climbing on the backs of others and squashing them down to get higher on the corporate ladder of greed and leadership, we've come to this place of collaboration where competition is no longer deemed as important or sets the tone for your value. I think we all can have a seat at the table recognizing that we all deserve to own our worth and that we are all valuable players here. And I think what is happening is when we recognize that divinity in each other, it takes the pressure off of the competition of like, well, I have to be the best. You can't be the best for everyone. We are not made for everyone. Our services, our talents, our gifts are only meant for a select group of people, and that is why there are so many of us with so many unique different contributions and skills and assets, because all of it collectively creates this beautiful whole. If we were all the same, then what would be the point of us being here?
This is truly one of the big secrets to life that I think so few of us tap into until, not that it's too late, but we lived a lot of our lives, me included, where I didn't know this, and that is helping other people. If you gain rapport with somebody and make them feel good, think about what you've done in their lives. Think about when they go home, they have something that they're inspired. And so they have a little more extra energy to give to those things that they really care about. And so when they give more than they normally would, because normally they don't feel like they do right now. And so you just going out and just being of service. And it doesn't always mean that you have to take in every single homeless person, or that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where you think about other people, where you spend time doing that, where you pour energy into those feelings. And when you're around other people, you think, how do I make them feel good? How can I make them feel in such a way where they're like, man, life is good. This is awesome.
One of the practices that you can do to raise up others, even if you're afraid to speak up and share that with them, for me, whenever I pass strangers in the hallway where we live or at work or just anywhere, I will send them sparkle magic. At the retreats, at the goddess retreats, anytime someone shares, we do our little spirit fingers and we send sparkle magic. And so inside my mind, I'm sending like little confetti sprinkles to every person that I pass and just sending them a little blast, like, here's some sparkle magic, have a good day. So not always does raising up others mean verbalizing it to people either. I think just bringing the upliftment energy into the room sets the tone.
I tell you what else I like to do. So I do like to verbalize it. I mean, I know you like doing your sparkle magic, but one of the things that I like to do, and just try this out. I'm telling you, try this out a couple times. Whenever it is Friday and you see somebody, the first thing that you tell them is Happy Friday. People get so excited about Fridays. I mean, that's one of the reasons why, we used to do Elevate Life on our lives on Fridays, because it was so much about that. Like, it's Friday. Like,
bro, the podcast goes out on Fridays.
That's why it's still, it's still a thing. That's what I'm saying. We've been doing this because I love that feeling of Friday. Even though Friday's not really the day that I celebrate the most anymore, I love days that are more like Sundays. But the Friday excitement and enjoyment, most people have had. They've had that experience before, especially when you get out of school and you're like, oh my God, it's finally Friday. It's just like it was finally summer, right? You got that same feeling. So just to raise up others, watch how simple it is just with something like Happy Friday. And watch how people can light up. It's always something simple like this. It doesn't mean being able to move a person's furniture. Like, that's a great way to help them. But something simple, like just saying 2 words and putting a little bit of emphasis behind it, like, I'm excited about that too. Watch what you can do for people. I've built relationships on saying Happy Friday.
It's true. I can think of a handful of specific people, and every time they always reply back, Happy Friday. Like, they're just so pumped to say, they can't say anything else. Like, yeah, hi, how are you? Today sucks. Like, nobody has ever replied to you and not said Happy Friday back.
So this is something deep. This is a deeper level of this whole thing right here, and that is on influence and how you influence others and how your charisma works and things like that. And that is, you have to know what the other person is excited about. If you don't know what the other person is excited or passionate about, you can't really have a conversation with them yet, because you're not talking with their same language. The second that you know what's and I use Friday because it's something that most people are excited about. So you want to talk about something that most people are excited about. Watch them light up. Because most conversations that people have in regular life aren't that fun. A lot of them about work, a lot of them about tasks that they're doing, a lot of them about dinner. It's just like, it's so mundane. And so having someone come out and say that, even something as that simple, is very, not only genuine for me, because I am excited too, but it comes across, we build rapport that way. We are hanging out together like, man, I love this guy. All because of Happy Friday.
Oh, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And that's what it makes it feel like. So you mentioned influence, right? And leadership and all of that. It makes me think about all the different master classes inside the Elevated Life Club that we've built around this topic. We literally have one on influence. It's basically like the toolkit that you need to be the best leader in business and in life. This month in the Elevated Life Club, the topic is all on prosperity. We've covered topics like money myths, money blocks, success, mindset, what else? The influence and leadership, manifestation. We have covered all of those masterclasses, which you get access to when you become an elevator and sign up for the club. But this month we're talking about prosperity. And Chris and I, he goes, how fucked up do you want to make them? That's literally how he asked me while we're creating the training this month. I said, oh, let's fucking go. Because we've talked about this. There's a lot of content inside the club for people to gain the tools that they need to be successful. So how can we approach this from a different perspective? And I think, our last tip and what you're bringing to the table, what we're bringing to the table, hell, I'm there to cheer everyone on too and share these amazing stories about how you can make success shift in your life in an effortless flow. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to grind and hustle. I would say this wasn't one of our topics for today, but moving into allowing versus hustling, I think, is another branch of the new success.
Well, there's something I've been saying, is that relaxation is the new success. I mean, when you truly feel in the flow of the moment, when you're just vibing with the world, when everything's kind of firing on all cylinders, when you're mentally clear, when you know what it is that you want to go after, when you feel alive again, when your spirit is just lifted up, when you walk in a room and you're that beam of light, and not because you're trying to be it. That's different. When you have to try to be it, that's okay to do. But when you're actually just it, and it's not something that aside from yourself, you're just being you and you just shine out this light, that's a different way to live. And that's exactly the kind of energy that we're talking about.
That's prosperity. Being free in your own skin to be authentically you.
Yeah, and while doing that, also being wealthy. And that's this last part about prosperity. That's this new success that's so important to be thinking about. And that is starting to value your time over money. So many of us make decisions only with money as the main thing in mind. And we have to start adding a time component to that. How much will this drain me? How much am I going to have to do to make this happen? How much is this going to take away from the other projects that I really want to work on? There's so many different things to evaluate in our life. So just because it always seems promising in the beginning, you have to look a little bit deeper. And this is a perfect time right now in the year to be reflecting, to be taking a pause.
Oh my gosh,
and just
it's halfway through.
you got to be taking a pause, and you've got to be reflecting on what's working for you in your life. And you got to be thinking about, where am I spending my time? The new success is all about prioritizing our time, because that is our precious asset. We can always go get more money. We can always do more things. But that time is so valuable. Making really good memories with friends, going maybe to that concert, like making the space in your life to go. When I hear people that say, I haven't taken a vacation in 5 years, I always wonder, like, where did they go wrong in their planning? We take extra vacations per year because we planned our life that way. We add in the things that we want to do first, and then we work around all of that. It's not that we work and work and work and work and then hope one day we can have the vacation or one day we can have the thing that we want to do. It's more about setting up those things that we want to do and saying, what do we need to do in our life to go get those?
I can totally hear people being like, yeah, but that's great for you.
And that's not true. That's exactly how we thought. We thought that way for a long time because people had always told us that, and that's what we'd always seen. And until you start to make up your own new rules, until you start to decide what success is for you, you're going to feel the exact same way. You're going to say, that's not possible. That can't be done. But when you define your own rules, life's up to you. It's going to be all about what you want to do and what you think and how you want the world to be. Because you're the one creating it for yourself. You're the only one that lives in your head. You're the only one that's there, that's in through the negative parts and through the positive parts as well. So start making it positive. Start making up your own rules where you succeed. Start making the story that you tell yourself inside your head where you're the hero. Don't be the villain. Don't be the victim. You don't need to be those people. Start being the hero. Start figuring out who that person is and get inside of you and come with us on this new success journey. This is something that you can do. This is something for everybody. It's not just for the elite few. It's not for if you're just born into a certain family or you had a certain job or you're the smartest person alive or most beautiful. That's not it. It's for you to start cultivating inside yourself right now.
If you're not fucking fired up, I don't know what's wrong with you. Something's broken. Hello, something's broken if you're not fired up. Can I sign up for this?
Sign it up.
Can
bro.
I be there?
Yes. We're doing it. This is going to be a big year. I've been telling everybody in our club recently, like, notice the synchronicities. Start noticing where the synchronicities are, because that's where your manifesting power is going to come from. That's where you're going to start changing things in your life. Manifesting just means making these changes. It's making the thoughts that you have going on in your head into reality. That's all manifestation is. It's not something more complicated than that. So if you want to come learn about prosperity, come over here with us. We have so much to tell you about this and teach on this thing, because I want you to start having a life that you love, not just a life where you have pretty things. I want you to have that too, but I want you to start loving life and loving yourself and loving the relationships that you've been in and loving that the work that you do in the world and the way that you help people. Like, all that should be something that just feels good, that makes you wake up and you feel alive again. You're like, damn, I want to be in this life. I'm excited.
I am so excited right now. You're making me pumped up. Like, your energy in this space right now is everything. And that's what we're trying to cultivate in this world. To pump everyone up, to wake them up, to remind them that they have something inside of them. That I'm talking to you have something inside of you that is wanting to be birthed, that wants to come out. I'm not talking about babies. I don't want them. Maybe you got them. I don't know. But it is a mission. It is a gift. It is your presence. It is your authenticity. It is your emotional and energetic contribution. It is the way that you show up. If you show up from a place of fear, you're perpetuating a cycle that isn't working. But if you show up from a place of love and passion and joy, like Chris is talking about, you will tap into an abundant flow of synchronicities, of prosperity, of opportunities that find their way into your life in unexpected ways. But you're never going to know if you stay inside the confines of your comfort zone. You've got to take a step outside of the boundaries that you've built out of protection and trust that on the other side of the wall that seems so scary is the magic that you've been dreaming of your whole life. Everything you could have always wanted, that you've dreamt of, that you said to yourself, this isn't possible, it's never going to happen. It is possible, but it's only possible if you give yourself permission to think and act in a new way.
Damn, we love y'all. We hope you're having a fantastic day.
Oh, hey, it's Friday. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. What's up?
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. This is all about living the new success. This is about redefining what success is for you, taking control of your life and the actions that you take. And this right now is that moment for you to decide if you're going to be open to receive all the abundance that you've been calling in, that maybe, just maybe, one of your thoughts or beliefs that it's not possible has been blocking out. And now is the time for you to receive.
Go get him, Tiger. We're rooting for you.
Meow. We'll catch you next week. Peace. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life Podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.